and welcome to Divine Downloads, where you get spiritual guidance and strategic actions for you to create a life that lights you up. I'm your host and spiritual mentor, Cassandra, and I am super excited about today's guest. And I know that you guys know how excited I am because I actually haven't had a guest on here in a few months. I've been doing a lot of solo casts and just letting the downloads go. But we are in unprecedented times. And I happen to have access, actually through one of my best friends, to this incredibly brilliant gentleman who's really going to be such a resource for so many of us, myself included, in helping recession-proof our businesses and create online businesses for those of you guys that are thinking about creating online businesses in this kind of crazy time. So Scott Oldford, welcome. I'm so excited to have you. So a little backstory on Scott. Like I said, my dear friend Libby Crow is his wonderful wife, and that's kind of how we met when they started dating. And it was almost like kind of having this like secret ace in the hole, having having a girlfriend that has Scott as her husband, because we go over and have tea and just be talking stuff with Libby, and Scott would interject his fantastic insights, his multi-million dollar insights, and I quickly discovered who Scott was. And so Scott, just real casually, if you could read his whole full bio, he's done a lot of fantastic things, but Scott usually works with people to scale 7-figure and upward businesses. And Scott, correct me if I'm wrong here, but he has been doing this for many, many, many years. And the thing that I find completely fascinating and amazing about Scott is that he is also kind of pivoted so many times during this time. I don't know if pivot is the perfect word for it, but he's rebuilt in different ways, and he's really responded to the times. He's actually lived through, as a business owner, the 2008 recession and all of that. And I think that's something super valuable right now to get someone's insight on, someone that has had that resilience. When I think of him, I'm more impressed with his resilience business wise. And all around personally. He has also a fantastic personal story, but I'm more impressed with his resilience than even the incredible amount of money he's been able to make and help others make, because I truly think, that is just a quality that's the difference between someone that will consistently be a leader and consistently be successful in whatever the world is throwing at you, and someone that maybe, kind of struck gold on one thing and rode it as far as they can. So anyway, without further ado, Scott, do you want to add anything?
That was a great introduction. I love that introduction. It's really funny because resilience is such an important. I wrote this yesterday on my Facebook. It was like, you can be smart, but it's more valuable to be resilient, right? And I think that entrepreneurs right now, like, resilience is the number one thing. And so, I was spending some time with my grandfather last summer, and he's been really kind of having some issues as of late. And I was just looking at it, and he's had like 5 heart attacks. Okay, he's had 5 heart attacks. He had a heart attack when he was 39, and they only gave him 6 months to live, and he's like 80 something, right? And so I was just like, wow. In that moment I was like, this guy like literally has levels of resilience that, like, I'm like, oh, that's where I got it from. And so I think it's really important right now. It doesn't matter, and we're going to cover a lot today. But I think the number one kind of lesson for entrepreneurship, doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or not, is like resilience, waking up every single morning, looking yourself in the mirror and be like, you know what, I got this. And having that no matter what, without going too far in my story, by the time I was 16, I had $1 million company. By the time I was 21, I was $1 million in debt. And that whole transition and that whole, like, most people would just give up at that point, right? And like call it a day. And the resilience is waking back up and being like, you know what, I'm not gonna like suppress myself. I'm not gonna like, do the things that people do to kind of like cover themselves up. I'm gonna be like, yep, that's me. That's then, and this is now, and let's go. And I think that that's going to be super valuable. So I don't think that was a great introduction. and it was great. I mean, the amount of people that I've met because of Libby is just absolutely crazy. And I'd say just the amount of people that have had their businesses grown just because they ended up at the house. And I said,
Yeah.
5 minutes of what I thought was just totally random things. And they come back like 3 months later and they're like, oh yeah, no, I implemented that and made like $500,000. I'm like, oh, well, cool. And
You're welcome.
here's my yeah, yeah, exactly right. But anyways, I'm very excited to be here. I'm very excited to be able to share, some of my experience and knowledge with everybody.
Yeah, so I think that brings up a first great thing to talk about is mindset. So let's kick it off. Let's talk a little bit about mindset, and then we're gonna go into specifically whether you're listening to this and you've maybe had that passion and been thinking about starting your own business, and maybe you were starting it on the side while you're working your 9 to 5, and now all of a sudden you're thinking, okay, maybe it's go time. Maybe this is what's going to be thriving right now, or if you're someone that has an online business and is wondering, how do I pivot? How do I make things accessible to people right now? What's the way to do it? We're going to cover all of that with Scott. So listen in. And then at the end, we're also going to let some general things that I think anyone should be knowing right now financially and stuff that Scott has some great insights on as well. And Scott's also generously giving everyone that's listening to the podcast this really, really thorough Google Doc that kind of breaks down all of his thoughts on this, and it's thick and it's juicy and it has so much valuable content in it. So that will be below in the notes section on the podcast or in your YouTube, wherever you're finding this. You'll be able to get that for free.
And
So mine, yeah.
it's so good. It's probably the best thing I've ever like written on words. There's no fluff because I didn't have any time to put any.
It's really amazing. I have to be honest. I'm going to confess right now and be a little bit of a
Yeah,
dork. But for the past, I think since you sent it to me,
yeah.
I've been reading it over twice a day, every day.
Oh my god. So it's on Google Drive and it keeps crashing Google Drive because there's too many people watching it.
Because
So
it's so good. There's so many different aspects he hits on. So I'm so excited to expose all of you guys to his genius and to all of those resources, because there's something for everyone on that document. And every time I read it, there is something else. I've been reading it multiple times because I know that every time I do it, I pick one thing and then I implement that thing, and that's how I work. So I don't get overwhelmed.
I
But
had I had I had one person message me after they downloaded it. They downloaded it, and like 2 days later, they're like, "Hey Scott, I made 50 grand from what you one thing that you implemented." I was just like, "Wow!" And they're like, "Where's this? Where's the link to sign up to work with you?" And I was like, "Wow, that had a pretty good return on investment." And keep in mind that document exists because I wanted to create it for my private clients, people that I work with one on one, and I was like, you know what? Everybody needs this. And so then I, worked a little, made it a little bit more manageable for everybody else so that it actually makes sense to everybody, not just somebody that has a multi-million-dollar company.
yeah,
And so I'm really excited to share that with you. We've had 5,000 unique downloads in less than 3 days since putting that out there. And I
amazing.
mean, my goal is that make sure that 250,000 people see this and over the next couple of months. So,
That's
um,
gonna
so
happen.
I'm excited. I'm excited for everybody to be able to watch
Well, one
the.
of the things you talk about on that document, and one of the things I want to just talk about out the gate, because I know that right now people are dancing with a lot of fear, and a lot of stuff is coming up. And you brought that up about mindset. And so before we even get into all this like strategy and different things people can do, I just kind of want to vocalize, I think, some of the things that people might be thinking right now, and
Yeah,
just get your take on it.
yeah,
So one of the things, like you said, I do think it's really important right now. Mindset is more important than ever, and that's definitely more of my forte, so to speak, where I'm like putting out tons of free meditations and
yeah,
EFT and tapping to help people really get through their fear and get through their anxiety. But I know specifically around this, um, there is a sense right now, I think, that a lot of people are putting out a ton of free content.
yep,
Like it's more overwhelming than ever, because we have a lot of people that maybe I in my world, it's a lot of the like yoga studios and all these people that weren't really doing that much on the webs before are now offering, free everything.
yep,
Where it's very different for me because I was a little bit more unique in that community. So for people that are either just starting or maybe already in it and seeing the amount of like free content, different things going on right now and feeling just overwhelmed and feeling like, do I have, is it worth it to really put this time into the, do I have a chance of being heard amongst the noise right now? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think you got to look at, and I say this document, I see this online industry, expanding anywhere from 5 to 30 times. And I think it's more towards the 30 than the 5 over the next couple of years. So if you're somebody that, you've just been starting out, or you've been like, I don't know if I want to do this, you got to realize that people buy mostly because of the emotional side. So they're buying because they have the same values as you. They have the same belief systems. They see you as being relevant to them. Their messaging is on. You have the similar life story, right? And so this plays a really, really, really great part. And so if it wasn't like that, everyone would just go to the same company that did the best service. But like we know that that's not true, right? We typically work with the people that are like, oh, those are my people. That's we look the same, or we look similar. We have the same background. So I actually think that, number one, this is expanding. There's not a better time than right now to be able to get into this. Um, there's no better time to be able to expand. And you got to like look at, I think human beings, we have a terrible way of looking at the future, right? Because when we look at the future, we don't think about the exponential growth, AKA the acceleration will keep accelerating. The rate in which some acceleration will happen will keep on accelerating. And so we have this sort of almost problem where we can't really see much more than like 90 days into the future, right? And so and most of the time it's not useful to look at more than 90 days into the future, because we don't know what's going to happen. I guarantee you most of my clients' 90-day plans are completely completely useless right now, right? But if we look at this, we look at the next 20 years, okay? And I'm big on artificial intelligence. I really spend a lot of time looking at the future of what's going to happen in the future. We got to look at right now, this time in our economy, and I'm going to separate the virus from the economy for a minute, okay? Because the virus, everyone's concerned about the virus. What this really is more about the economy than the virus. The virus we're going to take care of. Yes, it's sad. Yes, there's a lot of pain that's going to go along with a lot of people that had to experience this. But the longer lasting effect is the economy and the change on the economy. And so many people are going to have their job transitioned. They're going to have to find new ways to make money. And I'm talking about a lot of people, not a small amount of people, a lot of people. And I also think over the next 20 years, and more specifically the next just 5 years, you're going to see a lot of jobs that don't need a person replaced by artificial intelligence. And I think that that's the right thing to do, right? If somebody doesn't need to do a job, it cannot be driven by purpose. And their purpose is somewhere else. And that job is a crutch to allow them to be comfortable, right? And so if you have a mass awakening of people feeling no longer comfortable, well, now you have to go and innovate and change the paradigm and change your habits and change your routines and change everything. So this is sort of like, as a collective, an upgrade, in my opinion, to the consciousness. And I really, truly believe that we are going back to a time, back 300 years ago. All of us were entrepreneurs. Then industrialization happened, and we had managers and middle managers and bosses and all these types of things. We're going back to a time where we're going to be freelancers, entrepreneurs, and we're very much in the economy of working with each other. And so I think that right now, more than any other time, yes, people like you and me that already have personal brands, that already have customers, and already have businesses, of course we're going to be further ahead. But every day that you wait, you're really, really waiting on what could happen. Because again, if you believe 5 years ago, okay, 5 years ago, let's call it even 6 years ago, I lived in a 350 square foot apartment in St. John's, Newfoundland, which, by the way, is probably one of the colder places in the east part of Canada. Okay, I literally had almost no money. I was $1 million in debt, and I was in a terrible relationship. And for all intents and purposes, I was pretty depressed. Okay, so 6 years got married to the love of my life. I've made over $30 million. I live in one of the most beautiful places in Northern California. And, really at the end of the day, have been taken care of for, the rest of the time, really, but from a financial place, as well as, setting myself up to be able to be an investor and an advisor into companies and so on. So six years, that's all it took, was 6 years. And so, yes, it was a lot of hard work. Yes, it was a lot of being at the right time in the right place. Yes, I use my expertise and knowledge, but if you're listening to this, more likely you have something that you're really, really good at that you wanted to take online or to scale up. And so I would be careful looking at this doom and gloom, being like, oh my God, everything's going to go south, to more of, this is a time of transition. And as we know, diamonds, it takes pressure. I love the one, in order for the grapes to turn into wine, the grapes got to get crushed. Right. And
Yeah.
if you want the good wine, you just can't have a grape.
Oh yeah.
So it's so important right now to look at the next 20 years of your life and base it on that instead of just the next 90 days, which if you look at the news is pretty bleak. So it doesn't matter where you are. That's the way I try to look at things in the world.
And I love what you said about, I do agree as well that this is, all of the different circumstances that are coming together right now are a great awakening for a lot of us. And one of the things I've been saying long before this, and just because for some reason, I grew up with this mentality from when I was young. And I think it was because, when I was younger, I was an actress.
Mm.
And I think that also has a very entrepreneurial,
Yep.
freelancing kind of mindset to
Yep.
it. So I've told people this for years, like, there's been a real false sense of security with 9 to 5 kind of corporate jobs,
Yeah.
where it's a complete illusion. And
Yeah.
it's an
Absolutely.
illusion of security that we are now seeing break
Yeah.
more than ever. And so for all of those people that, on a way, yeah, for me, yeah, if I take a few weeks off and I'm not growing my business, does that affect my business? Yeah, on certain levels it does. Not the things I already have running, it doesn't. But on a different level, I don't have anyone telling me, like, no one can control taking away my paycheck other than me, really, and like what I'm putting out
Yep.
there in the world,
Yep.
which is really beautiful. And I felt more blessed than ever during this time to be an online entrepreneur, because I
Oh my
really
God.
feel like, ah, like,
Yeah.
and now I'm, yeah, a lot of people around me whose conventional businesses are working or falling, I have an opportunity to give back to them. And I agree. I think right now there is a lot of despair, there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of things that are going on, but we can utilize that to really say, one, from a perspective of what's going to light you up, what's going to bring you joy to do. Before we recorded this, what me and Scott mentioned were that both of us have feel more lit up, and on purpose these past 3 weeks we've put in significantly more hours, but neither of us have felt like that was like forced or pushed, like we wanted to do. We were like, I've been using the word like electrified. I literally feel like I just got electrified and I can't
Yeah.
stop. And
Yep.
I feel so good because I know I can share my medicine right now. And, I have my unique medicine. Scott's medicine is a little different than my medicine, a lot different than my medicine. I'm doing my little, rituals or whatever out there.
Which
Scott's
is super
helping.
important. Which is super important. I think it's all important to be with each other. But there's something that we can come from this that is not as easy for most people. And I think that this is why we're where we are right now, to be able to lead everybody from if you're listening to this right now, is that we can come from a place of pure support more easily than most of the planet, because we're like, I was saying this before, like I'm used to like working 15, 20 hours a week. We're used to working 3, 4 hours a day. I'm used to taking a vacation at least once a month for 5 to 7 days. And when this happened, I was like, to my wife Libby, I was like, hey babe, so first off, we can't go anywhere for anything. So, no vacations. That's pretty obvious. And number two, I need to work a lot more. Not because I have to, but because this is a time where like, literally I was made for this. You know what I mean? Like, I've been through all this. I've been through the crap. I've been literally, there's no one more qualified than me to be able to help people right now. You know what I mean? When it comes to online, like, I'm pretty much the highest level of qualification you can get. And then I was like, it's gotten me fired up. And it's crazy because it's not, I haven't been taking, some supplements to try to like, have more energy or more caffeine or anything. It's just like, the generator is like, all right, it's time. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. But I also think that no matter where you're to, if you're quitting your job right now, or you're leaving, or you just got, your job left, or you're looking at your current business and like, I don't know what's going to happen. The beautiful thing is you can tap into that same level of, all right, let's go. And I think the easiest way, and I think that this is one of the things I go into the document, which is entrepreneurship gets so complicated, right? People are like, oh, I need to have the right Instagram. Oh, I need to have the right website. Oh, I need to have the right business card. The honest truth is you need to go out and figure out how to help somebody, figure out how to present that back to them where they are like, yeah, I need to do this, and go and deliver that. And like, that is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship equals solving problems for people and getting paid. That is it. And everything else comes after that. And I think a lot of people get that confused because we hate simple. As human beings, we don't like simple things. We like to complexify it. We like to make it complex. And through this time, more than ever, it's important to be simple and just be able to actually just help people.
Yes. Okay. So going on that is one of my questions that I had for you is, so I agree with you. And to everyone out there listening, just because I feel like I know my audience so well, what Scott is saying, times 1,000, and don't overthink it. Like, what is the easiest, most like obvious way you can be of service right now? We do not need to reinvent the wheel. The chances are your medicine is already at your fingertips, right? The chances are is that you already know that thing. And whether that is, maybe it's helping stay-at-home moms homeschool right now, maybe it's, creating I don't even know, creating prayer circles in your thing, whether it's giving, doing Reiki sessions, whatever that thing is that you want to share, that you feel good about sharing, that you could help someone with right now. Just focus on that. This is not a time to get bogged down in like, I know Scott was saying, like, think of the 20-year picture. Sometimes what I have to tell my people is just like, think of 6 months. Like, don't freak out. Like, you're not marrying this.
Yeah. So, and what I would say is, don't try to plan for the next 20 years. Like, that's definitely not what I'm saying. Right now is the time to plan for like the next month. Like, 6 months is like, I think that might even be hard for most people right now. I think beforehand, I think 6 months would have been possible. Right now, they're like, oh, what do I do in the next 30 days?
Right. And like, think of what is the easiest thing that you can get up and running right now? And
absolutely.
If you don't have business at all, think of that one thing. What is the one easiest thing that you can offer, that you can be of service? And I think if you do have a business right now, also, and correct me if you disagree with me on this, Scott, but I would also say, think about what of your services that maybe you have offered is the most relevant in this climate right now, and focus on that. And then to throw it back to Scott, you can also, like I said, if you want to push back on that, but I want, what kind of product, or what, so this could be what kind of product, what price product do you think, if someone is either starting off or let's say wanting to laser in, they already currently have a business wanting to laser in on one product offer right now, what do you think is the best kind of product to sell during this?
Well, certainly not events.
No traveling. I had to cancel all my retreat options.
So I'm saying that in a half-hearted laugh, but a lot of people are having a hard time with that right now. So if that's you, then I'm not trying to make fun of you by any stretch of the imagination. Just the honest truth. So here's what's happening. Here's what I'm seeing. You got to create painkillers right now. Okay. So a lot of people have gotten comfortable selling vitamins, because when things are good, people will buy their vitamins. You know what I mean? Like, unless you got a vitamin, C or D right now, you ain't getting it. No one's buying it. You know what I mean? And so that means there's sort of two places. There's the ultra luxury. Okay. So in times like this, the ultra luxury nothing changes, because they have enough money where it doesn't matter. Right. So if you're serving, like, I'll say the top 20% of the 1%, then it doesn't really matter, right? Nothing really matters from that perspective. If you're serving the rest of people, you gotta look at, people want painkillers, not information. So I'm seeing a lot of memberships have a difficult time right now. Seeing a lot of just content programs have a difficult time right now. So right now is a great time to put in way more intimacy than you've ever put in. With my new recession proof program, I'm putting more intimacy, more one-on-one, or not one-on-one, but more group calls than I've ever put in my entire existence of selling online. Right now is to do the things that you've never done before. Now's the time to do the daily live. Now's the time to market more than you've probably ever marketed, talk about it more than you ever talked about it before, and be relentless and shameless about promoting that too. So those
Wait,
are
wait,
the
I just want to stop you right there because
yeah,
I want to dive a little bit more into that because
sure,
what I have noticed, even
yeah,
in, and this is interesting because for me, I will say it took me a few years on my
yeah.
entrepreneurial journey to get over like the whole selling hump, right? To just get super
Mhm.
comfortable with selling, feeling like I'm being of service. And when all this happened, I'm giving out a ton of free content. There are lives
Yep,
and podcasts, there's free
yep,
content every day. I am charging for my online workshops and
yep,
I'm still charging for one on one and obviously courses and stuff like that. And
yep.
I have had some of my girlfriends and some friends kind of reflect to me like, "Oh, how could you be selling in a time like this?" And I'm
Well,
like,
if you don't sell at a time like this, the economy will collapse.
and not only that, but I feel like for me, I have no guilt about selling at a time like this
Yeah,
because I know I'm offering products that are literally going to help people get through this
yeah,
and be able to support their family and be able, like, it will be an investment that will really turn
correct.
an ROI. So I feel so confident in the things that first of all, the online workshops, that they're like $14. I don't really even consider that selling. But like, for like courses and one-on-one stuff, I'm like, this is incredibly valuable right now. And so I'm very clear on being comfortable with selling. And yes, I will say, and again, I'm open to hear your thoughts on this. I'm offering discounts on my programs that I haven't before so that they are more accessible during this time. But I'm not, I don't feel bad about selling during a time like this because I know, like you said, I know that the services I'm offering are truly painkillers, are truly going to help people. But I'm
Yeah.
curious what you say to people that are feeling discomfort selling in this environment and this economy with everything that's going on and so many people losing their jobs.
Well, here's the thing. Someone's going to hate on you for it. You know what I mean? Someone's going to say some shit to you about it, whether it's your follower or one of your friends. You know what I mean? Like I had someone be like, "Oh, you should donate all the profit." I'm like, no. I'm like, I donate anyways. I donate to the people to, but I'm not going to donate all, like that literally is like not what you're supposed to do when you're an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? Like, yes, the reason I became an entrepreneur was that when I was a kid was to build orphanages in Africa, right? That's literally the reason I had my first business when I was 7, 8 years old. Right. So I'm not like trying to be greedy, but like the honest truth is an economy works when people buy and sell from each other. So if you just keep giving for free, the market's going to be flooded with just free stuff. People don't want just free information. They want to invest in something that's going to allow them to change their life, going to allow them to change their business, allow them to change their mindset, allow them to change their consciousness. And people literally have like money is energy. And if we're looking at from this, then people have to invest their energy in order to be able to expand their container of energy, which is basically everything that we're always trying to do, right? So if you're trying to increase someone's bank account, you're increasing the ability for them to be able to receive and then keep that money. So I'm completely with you. Now, just like for example, the recession proof program that I've launched, that's the lowest end program that I have, like in terms of how much it costs, that I've put out since 2016. So I'm with you in terms of like I'm totally cool with allowing for things to be more accessible. I think right now is the time to go with more volume, unless you're going with the ultra high. Right now, you're going to have to go with more volume than perhaps you have before, meaning more customers, more clients than you've really worked with before. But I think that that's good, right? It allows you to be able to share your gifts with people. Right now might be the time that you created a new group program that you've been wanting to do, but you just didn't have the time for. Right now might be the time to create a course with a lot more intimacy than you probably would ever do before. But just giving away free content, I think number one, you're either afraid. If that's you, number one, you're either afraid of being judged by people, which I completely understand, or number two, you might just have no need for making money. which the few people have said to me, they're like, they're worth like $100 million, and I'm like, I'm in a good spot. I didn't need to like keep working right now, and like I have investment, the whole 9 yards, right? But when there's an opportunity to help people and be able to get paid to help those people and to get the attention of people, I'm going to take it. And I think that at the end of the day it's a very spiritual thing to be able to help people and get paid for it. And you getting paid for it is also an element of like people, when they invest money, take action.
Absolutely. This is literally the number one reason I charge. Like I'm
Yeah,
charging $14 for these online workshops, right?
it's
And
just to show
everyone is
up. It's
what?
just to get them to. It's just to get them to show up. It's just like,
Exactly.
because
Because
if it
that
was
means
free, they wouldn't show up.
they're watching it. And I know so many people are offering similar workshops for free. And you know what? I'm sure maybe a bunch of people sign up for it. I guarantee very little watch it. Every single person watches it, right? And I can see it on my little back end too. And that's what matters to me. I want people actually watching it because they can't help it if they're not doing it. And
Absolutely.
one of the other concepts that I think goes along with what you're saying that I share a lot is that I encourage my people to be the light, right? And so what be the light is also like be the example. You know what? You are showing like by you being able to support your family by creating an online product, by you being able to buy your own groceries, by you being able to help out because maybe your husband lost his job or whatever is going on right now, you are inspiring so many other people out there to say, oh my gosh, I could create that for myself as well. So by you valuing your services, by you charging whatever a accessible prices or whatever, a normal price for your services and honoring that, you're inspiring the woman that's looking at you and saying, oh my gosh, could I do this too? Oh my gosh, could I help pay for my groceries this way? Could I help get my family out of debt this way? And I think that in and of itself is such a service right
Yeah.
now. I love what you also said. I just want to call that out a little bit too. If you're starting out or if you have a business right now, I agree with you. I think creating a high touch group program I think that's what is going to thrive. I've noticed, I started doing group programs a couple years ago where we're all on Zoom and we all like see each other's faces. And I noticed just this was like 2-3 years ago, how much this shifted the energy, how much more supported women loved just gathering just as much as they loved the content and all the help that they were getting to be able to see other people. And I think this time where it's this weird social isolation time, I've also noticed I have a mastermind going right now, and same thing. It's like it's just so nice to see everyone's faces when we get on the Zoom and we're all like literally all it's a Course in Miracles. It's a completely spiritual mastermind. And all of them are literally like, this is my lifeline. This is helping me
Yeah.
so much having this community. So I think if you can create something, it's a great way for you to be able to offer it to a large amount of people at a good price and have that high touch where you can get people on and have those live Zoom calls. Let's see people's faces. Let's see everyone in their
I,
sweatpants.
I had one client of mine, and he put out a new just an example of this. He did a co-working offer, right? So he's over in Europe. He did a co-working offer, so it's like $27 a week. Everyone logs on Zoom every morning. He has someone to do yoga with them, meditation with them. He does a training to get everyone going, and everyone's just kind of there working with each other. And I think he sold like 350 spots.
It's amazing.
Right. And so I mean he's just absolutely killing it with that. And his old offer literally just tanked instantaneously before that, and he was like, all right, time to change. And like that's the thing as entrepreneurs. And I mean, you started this and said pivoting is exactly it, right? When the market changes, your customer changes, your own situation changes, either one of those three things happen, you have to be like, all right, what is relevant that someone actually needs right now? How can I position myself so that they see that I can help them? Who is exactly the person that I can help? What messaging do they need to hear? What do they need to hear about their pain, their problem, their consequence? What methodology or process do I need to show them? What authority do I need to show them? How do I show them that I've done this or helped someone like this before? And then how do I show them a solution that gets past their objections and allows that person to see the vision for their life, their health, their fit, their relationship, or their business, right? And by doing that, by doing those things, you then create a group of people that then you can give an offer to. And this is sort of the entire element of being, I'm all about, always for the last couple of years, I've been talking about relevancy over and over and over and over again. And relevancy is so important. And right now, if something's relevant, attention is cheap because people are looking for answers. People are looking for the lifeboats. People are looking for what do I do? People are looking for the calmness of themselves. And people are having anxiety attacks, panic attacks, and especially people that haven't done the work up to this point. They're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Everything's fine when things are comfortable. Right. And if you're watching this, you've probably already done a lot of the work already, and you're committed to that. But think about all the people that haven't committed to that when things are comfortable. When times are comfortable, people get lazy. And when people get lazy, they don't have to evolve. They don't have to evolve their mindset. They don't have to evolve their bank account. They don't have to evolve. But times like this, you are the person that's going to help that person, no matter what it is. You're going to help them up the mountain, to guide them up the mountain. And that person right now probably needs a variety of guides up the mountain to be able to actually help them with, no matter what it is, right? No matter if it is, hey, here's the new ritual you need to do to be able to be on your game. And for me, it's helping people with their marketing, their sales, their mindset. Hey, how do you manage a team during this time? How do you do all these different businessy things during this time? How do you actually bring consciousness and your intuition into your business? And this is so important. And by you not charging, just to go and close the loop on that, by you not charging, you stop the ability from you being able to guide people up the mountain. And instead, you just be able to put out, little information to get people motivated and inspired. 10 minutes goes by, they forgot about it, and nothing happens. This is the time to be able to create intimacy with somebody so that they can feel connected to something. They can feel like they can actually implement it. They can actually do something with it. And now is the time, for more than anything else, is for the time for transformation instead of just information.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. And we're in this little portal right now with this great opportunity to double down, to
Yeah.
really have, whether you are working from home in your 9 to 5 business right now, or you're not, and you're figuring out what your next steps are, or you're figuring out what the next steps are for your online business, we have an abundance of time, and we have, which a lot of us haven't had for a while, right? We've been like go 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 doing all these different things, and now all of a sudden everything is slowing down, and it's giving us an opportunity to really dive even deeper. And I think, even for myself, it's been, a time of, giving a lot and doing a lot and offering a lot, but it's also been a time of learning a lot. And just like, right now, just reading Scott's document, even on that level, being like, okay, well, what am I doing every day to also like learn more and grow, and how can I think, the Tony Robbins, I believe, says that one of core fundamental needs for humans to be happy is progress,
Yeah.
right? And so many of us are struggling to feel happy, or to feel in whatever right now, and to be doing these things to progress yourself and building something during this time is the greatest gift. I wasn't planning on sharing this, but I actually built my business during the darkest time in my life, when my little brother got diagnosed with a terminal illness. I
Mhm.
literally, to know me, it's not, before that, I was pretty like upbeat, and to know me, I've definitely had people sometimes sarcastically will be like, "Are you ever not happy?" And and I'm like, "Oh, you just don't know me that well." um, but I got to that point when everything happened with my brother, where I literally was like, I don't know how to go on. Like, how do I move on during that moment? And it was a very personal moment, which is different than the collective moment we're
Sure.
having right now. But I know that there are people right now feeling similarly of that moment of like, what is tomorrow hold?
Yeah.
Like, how do I move forward from that moment? And I can just tell you, it saved my freaking life to
Yeah.
follow what lit me up, to find what my medicine was, and to just say, I'm going to give it out. And I tell you guys, when I started, I had less than zero advice, like less than zero help building a business. I had no idea what I was doing.
It's way easier now than it used to be, because there's people like me and you actually giving, actionable advice and everything else than it was, years ago.
Yeah,
So
right. I think of how different it would have been. I think of how different it would have been if I had access to the resources people have access to now. And
absolutely.
I am excited for people right now. I'm excited for you guys listening because I know if you're listening, you're open to this.
Yeah.
You got your heart open to that. I know if you're listening, that your soul's already been pinging you like, oh, it's time to do this. Okay. It's not an accident that you found me and Scott. It's not an accident that I know you're probably getting little tingles in your belly right now, thinking like, okay, maybe I could do this. Maybe this is the time. This is the time. This is the time. And and Scott has, before we wrap up, I really want me and Scott are gonna collab a bit on this to help you out and to make sure that you get this thing up and running and you're able to one make use of this auspicious time in history. You're able to channel your medicine, your gifts, the people that you specifically can help right now, and you're also able to support yourself and support your family and help. That's important too, and you shouldn't feel ashamed about making money and setting that example for other people in your life right now. Um, so let's talk a little bit about, I want to talk about the recession proof program. So you guys are all on the links below getting access to his document for free. And I, like I said, I recommend you reread it like 100 times. It is so, so helpful. But he's also offering a 6-week program that is, like he said, he's going to be offering a lot of group calls, more hand holding than obviously the document, to help you really strategically implement this, demystify any like overwhelm or confusion you have around this, and just really ensure that you can make use of these next. I'm like 6 weeks. Is that a month and a half, 2 months, right? And create something really beautiful for it. And then I'll let you know what I'm throwing in the bag as well, which is going to be really helpful to you guys as well. So, Scott, why don't you just tell us a little bit about this recession proof program?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, right now, I mean, I think the biggest thing always is the more we follow our intuition, the more we follow our gut, the better life gets. I always feel like there's this like invisible thread in life, and the more we listen to like that invisible thread, even if it's a little weird, like just as a story before I talk about this,
Yeah.
in 2013, 2013, um, I got enough money to pay for my mom gave me money for it at the time. And which she probably shouldn't have because I was already like up to my head in debt, right? Like I don't even know why I asked, and I think I was even more surprised that she gave me the money. And so it was for this 4-day event, and it was this mastermind event. But there was just something that was like, I need to go there. And it's the first time I ever bought anything like that, like that was just like not something that I was really kind of used to. And so I went, and that the people I met there, the information I had, everything. The next year, I built $1 million business, which was kind of like helped me on the way of getting out of $1 million of debt. And it was a lot to do with the connections that were there, but it was just like this pull of my gut where it was like, I'm going to figure out how to do it. And so, whatever my gut says these days, I try to go with my gut because first it starts with a whisper, and then it talks, and then it shouts, and then it slaps you, and then it punches you, and then it puts you right down on your face, right?
Yep.
In that order, right? And I'm like, you know what? I've got to the point where when it talks, I listen, and I try not to make it go past that. And
Oh,
so it
same
talks.
here. And I noticed my life is exponentially better
Yes.
the less resistance I have to just doing it. Now I don't. I'm like, okay, got it. We're doing it. Don't even ask questions.
Absolutely. So this program, Recession Proof, I was doing a hypnotherapy. I'm a huge advocate of hypnotherapy, any type of mindset work and different modalities. And I actually have a company that's hypnotherapy for entrepreneurs. And so with my partner, she does hypnotherapy with me. She's an amazing hypnotherapist, Grace Smith. And so we were doing about 3 weeks ago, we were doing a session. And in the session, I was like, but what I was saying was I needed to create this program for the recession. Keep in mind, the stock market didn't plunge at this point. Like nobody knew what was about to happen. Like I knew, but nobody else knew. And I came out of that and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm living my comfortable life right now. You know what I mean? I got a multi-million-dollar business, super profitable. Life's good. 10, 15, 20 hours a week is my maximum. And then Grace voice noted me the next day and was like, "Hey, Scott, um, I had a dream come to me last night, and you created a program called the Recession Proof to help entrepreneurs, and it was the biggest thing that you've ever done. The most successful thing you've ever done, that with the largest amount of impact." And I get this message. I'm like, oh, I'm like, that was the talk from the universe right there. I was like, yesterday was the whisper, today was the talk. And so I was like, I don't know. And I talked to Olivia, and she's like, "Do you want to create more things right now?" And we've been really trying to keep each other accountable, not to keep creating new things just because we're creatives and we're entrepreneurs. So a couple of days go by, and so certain things happen in my life, and I was like, okay, it's starting to sound like a little bit more than a talk now. So then one of my good friends, I actually mentored him back in 2017, 2018, and he's gone on to create this company called 2X. Name's Austin, and he's helped people make hundreds of millions of dollars, much like myself. And he called me up and he's like, "Hey man, I'm doing a program to help all the people right now that need help. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people." And so, and I was like, "No, no, you're not." I'm like, "You're the only person I want to partner with on something like that." And so, anyways, 45 minutes later, we're like, "Okay." I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna do this." And so that is how Recession Proof for entrepreneurs came to be. And so when you go take a look at that link below and the guide below and the resources we got so many free resources down there as well, of course, to help you. We created something that I think is just so valuable for anybody, for when it comes to your marketing, your sales, your operations, your delivery, your finances, your mindsets, how to position your offer right now, how to be able to position your messaging right now. Everything that you really need. We have 5 weekly sessions, 5 weekly live sessions. So basically every single weekday, we have a session, myself or Austin or someone on his team that has ran at least a 7-figure business is going to be there with you. I'm doing 2 sessions a week. He's doing 2 sessions a week. You're going to get my ROI method, my marketing and sales methodology, that course. I don't want to go into some crazy pitch right now. I just want to tell a story and tell about how impactful it is. And so we created an option where you can get into this $397 a week for the 6 weeks. And then after that, there is an option to continue on a monthly basis, to continue having that support as well, because we just don't want to leave you at the end of that. But this is all about, let's get real momentum now. Let's get your marketing campaign out right now. Let's get like success in a week. Most things I do, it's like, let's do it over 90 days. This is like, let's do this right now. Let's get things moving right now. And then you also get the Facebook community, the ability to connect with so many other entrepreneurs, really have a tribe that you're there with. And one last thing, you also get a one-on-one call with one of the growth specialists at 2X, which again, every single person there has grown a company at least to 7 figures, to give you the next 90-day plan. All right, here's what you need to be focusing on. Here's what you need to be doing. So, so that's that. Go take a look at the link. I've never done anything this inexpensive and affordable for someone with this much ever. I've never done it, even when I started in online stuff. Ever, I've never done that. And so, but I said, you know what? If I want to help a couple thousand entrepreneurs, which is what my goal is with this, if I want to help a couple thousand entrepreneurs, I need to actually help them. I need there to be the intimacy there. I need them to have the information. I need them to have all the different pieces that are so important to be able to get them where they need to be. And we built this for somebody, no matter if you're starting out, you're doing 5,000 a month, 50,000 a month. I got one person there doing 250,000 a month that just wanted this and wanted the information and wanted that accessibility to me. So that's my spiel about all of that.
And you have a couple core tenets that you're covering in that, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's about all the pillars of the business, which I always bring it back to: marketing, sales, operations, delivery, team, finances, and mindset. And so it goes through absolutely every single part of that inside of this program. And the other cool thing is we're actually doing the trainings a lot. So there's a lot of the training, most of the training's done already pre-recorded and so on. But a lot of the training we're doing week by week to actually help people on the specific things that they're having an issue with, that we might not have anticipated that they're actually having an issue with. But we have, I've grown 10 of my own businesses past 7 figures. I've helped over 100 go past 7 figures. Many have gone to 8. And Austin has had the same, level. I think he's at 3 or 4 businesses past 7 figures now, and he's helped, dozens and dozens as well.
Yeah, I think this is a great way for, and also for all of you guys that are listening, if you do decide to do this and you're, ready to step up and you want to rise up, one, this program is just going to give you like a tremendous head start on so many people, or a significant cutting advantage during these times. I'm also going to throw in my Spread Your Light business course. So Spread Your Light has been one of my signature courses that was only available if you masterminded with me up until this point because of everything that's going on right now. And Spread Your Light is pretty much, it's both the, my practical magic formula, which is like both the spiritual and the strategic on everything from, finding your things that Scott mentioned as well, like finding your niche, finding your target customer, a meditation for really getting clear on that, how that looks as far as growing your Instagram, your mailing list, creating offerings, pricings, all of the things. It's like I said, the only people that had access to this were people that are in my high level Spread Your Light mastermind, and now I'm going to throw it in as part, as for free if you sign up, if you're signing up with Scott, because I really want you guys to have all the resources. So I don't want, I was going to be offering this as well as a solo thing, and then when I heard about what Scott was doing, I thought, I really want you guys to be able to have both. I really want you guys to be able to both. I know if you're listening to this, you resonate with how I talk about things. And so you can really enjoy the Spread Your Light course, and that'll be a great companion to everything that Scott's talking about, because Scott's just going to take it to a whole different level. And I think it's really valuable to have that weekly guidance right now too. Be able to have someone you can get on a call with and being like, okay, I did X, Y, and Z. Now what do I do here? Right? I think that's really helpful for those of you guys starting out, or for me. I love that. I love being able to be like, okay, so I'm pretty good at implementation, but then you'll hit a snag. And I think what helps us keep on going, what helps us keep up leveling is being able to have that. So we're going to include all the information on that below. And, like Scott, I love that Scott shared that story with you of how it came to be, because what Scott probably doesn't know is how much I share with you guys how all of my courses come to be, and the stories are very similar. It's always like, I was in a bathtub and I had an idea, and then
yeah. There wasn't any like, I didn't have some master plan that I was going to do this. It was kind of like, all right, well, I guess I have to do this because it's on the path, and so here we are.
Exactly. It's being called. We're being called to do it, and we just follow, and that's our gifts and our medicine that we can give right now. And I just want to thank you, Scott, so much for coming on, for sharing all of your wisdom. I feel like this has been uplifting and inspiring and really useful for so many people right now. I know that this is probably like the yell. I think these people have already had the whisper and the talk. Now they're going to yell.
Yep. Don't make the universe slap you in the face. Yeah. It's never fun. Listen, it's never fun. Right? It doesn't happen a lot. Listen to your intuition.
The time is now, and you have just the resources. You literally, there's this line from A Course in Miracles, which I teach, called "When the student is ready, the teacher appears." Right? Yeah. And I know that when you get to that certain point, people like me and Scott come in front of you. Offers like this present itself, so that that's God, higher power, your angels, whoever you want to call it, pretty much being like, here you go.
Absolutely. It's so true, and that is so accurate. It's the same thing happened in my life with the mentors that I've had, the coaches I've had. When I'm like finally like, okay, it's like right away I'm like, whoa, that was rather strange. Where did this person come from? I never even heard about this person. And look at what they can help me with. So yes, I think that this is the if you're feeling it in your belly, I always like to go with what's going on in the belly. I know that both of us, we're not like hard pitch people. I'm not a hard pitch type of person. I'm like, hey, listen, the scarcity is the way the world is, and that's it. I don't have to put a timer on the page to be able to get you to change your life.
Yeah. And
This
one of the things I've been saying too is like, so I've really been against like this, like shaming anyone, like what their process is right now. Like, I'm
yeah,
not about that. And and the reason why this is very upfront, this podcast is very upfront for people that were interested in this.
absolutely.
So I know that like the people that are following me or the people that listen to my podcast that are just like not in this space right now for whatever reason,
That's
they're
totally
not
fine.
feeling the
They're not
call.
even listening. They're not even.
They're not even
They
listening.
didn't get past 2 minutes. They didn't even get to 2 minutes.
Exactly.
Not even relevant to
Exactly.
them.
Exactly. So I think that's it. If you're here, your guide, you're called. All the information is below. Download that free document, and it speaks for itself. I know Scott. Just hearing him chat and his stories and his advice and his tips and just the way just who he is, I know is going to speak to so many of you guys, and I know you guys know because I'm so particular about who I even allow in my space, and who I would introduce you guys to. I don't do it often at all. You guys know how much I trust and love and respect Scott to invite him into our community and to collab on this with this. So again, thank you, Scott. Everyone listening, check out the resources below. Definitely download that Google Doc and then check out this program. See, if this is what, like I said, don't let the brick hit you on the head. Just dive in, use this time. If you're listening to this, you are a light worker. You are being called right now to step up. We can make a massive impact on the planet. And, a lot of us that are so connected and so, spiritual and have all this tools, one of the things I recognize about myself is that we truly need counterparts like Scott, right? I've recognized that, and that's, I think, been one of my strengths, is that we need people that have a more business minded approach, that we need that structure to help us build these things because our hearts are so big and we have so much to give. But having that strategic advice and having that support is really the difference between you being able to serve on a really beautiful level or feeling like you're just like running in circles on a treadmill at home, right? So check it all out. I love you all. Sending you all so much love. Thank you, Scott. Love you too.
Thank
It's
you
been wonderful.
so much. I'm so excited to help every single person here that is really ready. And thank you for having me and sharing me to every single amazing, beautiful soul that's listening to this.
Bye, guys.